Hey everybody. So welcome to week 5. 5 weeks already, can you imagine, that we've been doing this resolution reboot. And I hope that all this information has been really helpful for you. I hope you're making amazing transformations in your life. I know I am. And I would love to hear what you're working on. And I'll take just a couple seconds here to kind of recap a little, and you can type in any questions or comments you have for me tonight. And then I'm going to jump right into talking about something that is life-changing, in my opinion. It definitely changed my life. And I'm going to throw this out, my disclaimer again. If you've been with me, you've already heard it, but just if you're new or need a reminder, I'm not a doctor nor a lawyer, so this is not medical or legal advice. And I really do encourage you to talk to a trusted healthcare professional before making huge changes in anything you're doing around your health, because we always want to do things that will make us better, not derail anything that you've already got going. That's really helpful for you. Okay, so I don't see any questions yet. Please throw questions out at me anytime. That will help me a lot. But what we're going to talk about today is addiction and withdrawal, and not in the way you think. So we're not talking about drug addiction, alcohol addiction, food addiction, any kind of those things specifically, although they can play a part. What we're talking about is the addiction that you end up with in your brain when you become addicted to your own emotional state and your own behaviors. So we've already talked in past videos about tactics for changing habits, bad habits, good habits, creating new habits, and kind of weaning off old habits. And this is somewhat related, right? Because being addicted to anything is actually a habit in a certain sense. There's always this biological function as well, which we'll talk a little bit about. But it's kind of like hand in hand, right? There's a little bit of habit and a lot of biological stuff going on there that forms an addiction. So what's really interesting, and why a lot of people start to fall off on their resolutions or quit doing the things that they're trying to change in their life, is because we are addicted to our old emotions. So just in general, we feel safe when things are the same. I don't know how many times I've had clients say to me something like, if only I could reach a plateau, if things would just kind of level off so that I could catch my breath, right? Like if you're trying to make a positive change, it always seems like life starts throwing everything at you. Like all of a sudden it's just chaos, which may or may not be true. Sometimes it just feels overwhelming and feels like chaos. But nonetheless, a lot of the times we're like, oh, I wish things would just level off for a minute, right? And some of that is just survival instinct, because survival means things are okay, everything is safe. And that can mean boredom, sameness, everything being stable and having everything be the same all the time, right? So when you're starting to make positive transformations in your life, sometimes our inner little lizard brain, that critter brain that runs on just instinct and survival, starts throwing up red flags and says, hey, something's changing here, something's changing here, something's changing here. Change is scary, change is scary, change is scary. And so these are the things that we kind of get in our subconscious, that we might in the front of our mind be going, I am going to feel so much better if I eat healthier, and if I exercise every day, and if I form more healthy boundaries with people, if I have better relationships with people. I'm looking to create more love and joy and happiness in my life, and these old behaviors aren't serving that anymore, and I want to change them. Well, in the back of our mind, kind of hidden, is going, change is bad though. And so we may be able to get through on willpower for the first little bit. Everybody has a different level of willpower. So for the first phase, you can just keep pounding through. It's just like, nope. I'll use a diet for an example. If you decide you're going to give up sugar and eat whole foods, which I highly recommend, by the way, And at first, if you're already accustomed to eating a lot of processed foods, you're eating a lot of things out of cans and boxes and bags, maybe fast food, maybe a lot of dining out even, where the restaurants are putting a lot of sugar in the food for extra flavor because they do this, right? Like sugar keeps you coming back for more. That's an addiction in itself. So if you decide to change that and you give up the sugar and you're eating more whole foods, for the first little bit, it's probably really easy because you're riding that wave of excitement. You know you're making the change. And then all of a sudden you start to fall off. And so we talked a little bit about that with making habit changes, to slide these new behaviors into your life and link them to something else, really anchoring them. But you still might start to face a different challenge where you start to feel maybe angry or upset, sad, really discouraged, regardless of, like we talked about last week, the people in your life and the environment you're in and the circumstances you're in that might be kind of sabotaging you or derailing you or making it difficult in some way for you to keep going with the thing you want to do. This week we're talking more about your actual survival, the survival mode that kicks in, I guess is probably the best way I can say it. So basically, here it is in a nutshell. So all day, every day, you're doing things, right? And your brain is putting together chemicals, your body is creating hormones in order to cope with whatever activities you're doing, whatever you're engaging in. So a good example is exercise, right? Like your body creates endorphins and adrenaline so that your muscles get stronger, increased blood flow, increased oxygen absorption. All these different chemical reactions start to happen to help your body to perform better. So similarly, if you're sleeping a lot or if you're dealing with a lot of stress, all these things, create different hormones in your body. If you have a lot of joy and love in your life all the time, every day, you get addicted to that feeling because when that becomes your norm, your body's used to it, your brain's used to it, and being used to things means you're safe, right? So this is kind of what we're talking about today. If you start to feel like you are getting stressed out or sad or angry, anger can even come up and you're like, what's going on here? Because I am making so many positive changes. Everything's getting better. I'm, losing weight, looking better. My skin's clearing up. I feel better. I have more energy. I just feel better in general. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it might hit you like a wall where you're like, oh, I feel sick. This is awful. I can't deal with that. I have to go back to how I was doing things before. In fact, it may be an irrational thing where you might start to go, no, I have to have sugar. If I don't have sugar, then I'm going to be sick or I'm not going to be able to do the things I want to do. And you might actually start talking yourself into reversing that really healthy change that you're establishing. So I do have a couple tips to help you get through this. And if you're interested in the science behind it, let me know because I do have a couple resources I can give you on neurobiology, neuroscience that talks about this actual addiction in your brain to the chemicals and hormones that your body is producing on a daily basis. And when you change and those hormones and chemical reactions that are happening change too, how that kind of survival mode kicks in and can sabotage you, but also how you can overcome that because we do have this very strong prefrontal cortex in our brain right up front, our decision-making ability. So one thing we can do is, well, in the first place, you need to be able to see what's happening to you. Sometimes when this happens, you're not really aware because you are in kind of that critter brain survival mode. And so you're going, I just have to go back to how things were so that I'm safe again. So you may need help from an outside perspective to actually become aware that this is what's happening because you may not even realize it. So once you realize like, oh, hey, wait, I'm going back to old behaviors, but I don't have to, then the change is miraculous because then you can start to pick up different activities and different thought processes that will get you through it. And pretty soon your positive transformation becomes what's normal and you get addicted to that and everything evens out again. So I have a couple suggestions for you if you find you're struggling with this that are super easy and can really make all the difference. So the first one is gratitude. You probably hear this all the time. It's, very trendy, but it's also very old and very something that people have been doing for thousands and thousands of years is being grateful, right? Saying thank you and appreciating the things you have, the people around you, and the things that they do for you, and the things you do for yourself. You can absolutely appreciate yourself. So I would encourage you to start to keep a gratitude journal. And every night or every morning, write a list of the things you're grateful for every day. And even if you repeat them every single day, even if every single day it's just, I'm so grateful that I have Facebook to connect with my friends, I have a nice warm house to live in, I have food, I have water, I have clothes, all these basics of life, you can still be very grateful for them. And um, on this specific topic of making change, you can also start to add gratitude to that. Like, I am so grateful that I have rediscovered my love for ripe, juicy tomatoes, or I'm so grateful that I have stuck with myself through this transformation so long. You can even be grateful for negative things. You can even be grateful for those mood swings that are letting you know that you're making progress and that you're making change. So that's my invitation to you, is to, if you don't already do it, or if you only do it sporadically, to try to add that in as a daily process of putting things down that you're grateful for. In fact, throughout the day, you might even just want to stop and say a little thank you. Sometimes this may sound silly, but when I find a great parking spot, or when I hit all the green lights, or if it's just a really nice sunny day and I have an extra 5 minutes, sometimes I'll just be like, oh, thank you. Thank you for the green light. Thank you for the great parking spot. Thank you for this sunny day that's making me feel better. So all through the day, you can work on that. So that's my number one thing. And oh, and by the way, I'm reading my notes a little. I made a note about gratitude. When you do this, it creates new neural pathways. So it will get you out of the rut of feeling negative about things, and it will create those new chemical reactions and those new hormones, and it can actually have really profound effects on your health without derailing you like other things can, like some other kind of practices could. So keep that in mind. It's like win-win all the way around with gratitude and being thankful for everything that you can. The next thing is to keep reminders everywhere. Maybe write on your mirror, like, you're doing great, you got this, you're improving your health, you're amazing. Put on a sticky note on your dashboard with the thing that you're working on and the progress you've made and how proud of you are. So these kind of things can really help. Some people talk about affirmations, and I will do a video on affirmations sometimes. I have kind of mixed feelings about them. Just the little cliff notes is that I feel like people will create affirmations to repeat that they don't really believe, and it can actually be kind of demotivating. If you're telling yourself, I'm going to make $1 million this year, but you know that there's no way you could possibly do that, which may or may not be true, right? But if in your mind you're thinking, there's no way I'm ever going to make $1 million, but you can repeat to yourself over and over and over, I'm going to make $1 million, I'm going to make $1 million. You're ending up with that dialogue in your head of, I'm going to make $1 million. No, you're not. I'm going to make $1 million. No, you're not. And it can really be confusing and demotivating. So there's a sneak peek into a future video about affirmations. But I do believe that being your own cheerleader can really change things. If you're constantly telling yourself you're doing great, I'm proud of your progress, this little thing or this big thing you did is amazing. So be your best cheerleader and leave yourself little love notes here and there. And that can help you as well if you start to feel angry or sad or demotivated about the change you're making and feel like you're unsafe in it. You can build yourself some proof, right? You can write down proof of how you are safe and how things are better and leave those around for yourself. And that will also help kind of create those new neural pathways and, get you out of that rut, right? That rut of negative feeling or feeling unsafe. If you are unsafe, though, I should say this. If you truly are unsafe, don't ignore that, right? If you're having health problems or severe emotional problems, please do get the help of a professional. So, don't I would never recommend that you try to use Post-it notes to get yourself out of a severe depression or anxiety state or an unsafe environment by using affirmations and gratitude. They're good to have alongside, but get the help you need as well. Okay, so that's just kind of my little side note there for you. The next thing, I have two other little things that can be really simple. One of them is essential oils. Smells can be such a trigger. So if you can link a good smell that you really like to something you are doing to positively change your life, that's kind of a double incentive. So essential oils have been shown to be very, very, very safe when used correctly. Dilute. Get professional assistance if you're new to essential oils or starting to use them, or even if you're expanding your use of them. Definitely, if you want some resources, let me know. I have a couple great resources that I used personally to learn about, sorry about that, I hit a little thing, that I used personally to learn about essential oils and have had no ill effects. So I can definitely give you some direction there. The other thing is EFT, or it's called tapping, which is psychology and acupressure combined, basically. So if you haven't heard of it, you can Google it. I would suggest something like thetappingsolution.com, which, by the way, they are running their annual, what do they call it? Tapping Summit, I believe. And I'm not affiliated with them, but I actually listen to all their interviews every year, and it always really helps me. So you can Google that and check that out. It's basically talk therapy. You're voicing your issues, you're voicing your emotions as you're touching different parts on your body and face. It's very easy, it's calm, it's not like a excited thing. It can be exciting. You can absolutely be shouting and screaming and jumping up and down if you want to. But it's also been shown to be a really effective therapy for just about everything. So that is another really tangible thing. I want to give you a couple tangible things to go along with, the gratitude and the affirmations, which can get kind of woo-woo, but these are things you can really get your hands on and, are structured, and you can really put yourself into that. So I know this kind of adds extra habits to the things you're already trying to do. It might be overwhelming or a burden. So maybe go back to listening to the last video about habit change and see if there's ways you can tack this on in a very, very small and easy way in your life. Like I say with the gratitude, just tacking that on like before you get up in the morning or after dinner or before bed, or even just saying them in the moment. Just you're sitting in traffic and you get through that red light or get through that green light and go, yay, thank you for the green light. So it doesn't even take any time or effort or anything. It's just acknowledging throughout the day the good things that happen. So that can really help. And the last thing I wanted to mention this time too, when we're making changes, we want other people to do good too, right? We find something that really helps us and we're telling everybody about it and, oh, you should do this with me. And I guarantee if you're not getting a lot of eye rolling in front of your face, you're probably getting a lot of eye rolling behind your back, or people going, oh, what's this crazy thing? I'm blowing you off or whatever, because not everybody wants to make the change you're making. So I do want to throw a little reminder here that you're doing such great work, you're probably learning so much and developing so much, and you're probably really tempted to just drag other people with you if you can. But try not to drag people who are unwilling to change. Try not to force your changes on other people or make them feel burdened by them, because that will actually derail you as well, because that makes you feel worse about what you're doing in a way. So that's a video for another day, but just a reminder that I know you're doing great, and comment to me, tell me how great you're doing. We can form a little posse, a little happy group to talk about all the great things we're doing and encourage each other, so that you don't have to kind of force it on people who don't want what you want. And believe me, I've been there. I've totally been there. When I went gluten-free, it was like everybody needs to go gluten-free, and let me tell you all about it. And a lot of people weren't so open to it. So I can tell you from experience, sometimes it's best just to be the example and find other people who are doing what you're doing or can relate in some way to celebrate and be excited and talk about all the new things, and people who are willing to want to do the thing you're going to do. So there's my lecture du jour for you on not nagging the people in your life. And I'm just going to check my notes really quick. The last thing I want to leave you with is to, no matter what, no matter how you're doing, no matter what emotions are coming up, no matter how these habit changes, no matter how the transformations are happening or not happening in your life, accept yourself. Accept yourself like you're a fluffy little kitty or puppy that you love unconditionally. You're not going to put the expectations on them that you might put on yourself. So once in a while, give yourself a breather and look at yourself like, I wish I had the little post. It was so cute. Like, if you see a little fat kitty, you love it. Yay, it's a little fat, fluffy kitty. A little skinny kitty. Oh, what a cute little skinny kitty. So, no matter what, try to look at yourself with a lot of love and compassion and unconditional love, because the truth of it is everyone else in your life is temporary no matter what. Us as human beings, we are just temporary creatures. We come and go. We live and die. And the one constant in your life is you. So it's most important how you feel about you and how you talk to yourself and how you treat yourself. So that is my warm fuzzy to sign off tonight. If you have questions and comments, I'd love to hear them. If you want to see the last 4 videos and get the freebies, head over to my website, which is colleen-bean.com/TW. We'll get you to the page where I'm putting all the downloads and all the videos. You can rewatch them, and you can rewatch them on YouTube and make me talk really fast if you want, so that they'll be much shorter. And as always, reach out to me with anything I can support you with. That's my purpose in life, is to support you in overcoming your health challenges so you can live on purpose as well. And I would really love to hear from you. So until next week, which will be the last week of this resolution, it'll be week 6. So if I haven't touched on anything that you were hoping I would, or something you'd like me to talk about, leave me some comments, shoot me an email or a DM, and let me know, because I am happy to cover them. If there's been something in one of my past videos that I said I would cover or talk about and I haven't, please remind me, and I will definitely try to sum everything up that I've missed last week. And I've got a new topic for you as well to just kind of get us off on the right foot for moving forward and continuing with our momentum and our wonderful positive transformations for the year. So it's not just going to end next week for you, but this little reboot will. So I hope to see you next week, Friday evenings. I'm not going to say a time, I guess, because that is kind of difficult for me to do a whole week ahead of time. But I do hope that you'll at least watch the replay on Saturday morning and let me know how things are going. I love you so much. I hope everything is going really great for you. Don't forget to really appreciate yourself and everything you're doing for you. And I will talk to you again next week. Okay? Bye. Mwah.